Hello, everyone. I'm just having a few computer problems here, so we just think we got her all up and running. Let me know if the sound is okay. Um, I think it is. I got a nod from my good wife. The sound is good. So thumbs up. We will pull up all our screens. We're gonna cover the Elders book. There's two parts to it tonight. So I'll just pull this up on the screen here. And we're also going to cover a couple of videos with the Elders book. There we go. Okay, so this is one of the chapters, chapter 27, weddings. And before we get into weddings, we were going to let me just look here, see if I can pull up a different screen. Okay, so we have a couple of links saved on weddings, one on weddings to start out. Take your time. We went to JW.org website. And we're just looking at what they have to say about weddings. Let's see, are you going to get married? And what do you have to do to get married if you're going to be a Jehovah's Witness? Well, they say take your time, choose wisely. That's good advice. I'm not disagreeing with that. But we're gonna look. This is a song. I don't know. I've never heard it before. I watched a little bit of it. There's what, 3 minutes long.
Everything's fine, but I'm wondering, who will I marry? What I'm doing right now is deciding not to hurry. This is a choice that could either bring laughter or sorrow. And the feelings that start in a youthful heart, they could be gone tomorrow. Take your time. Patience is the key. Just wait and see. Use your head, though your heart may not agree, and think, is this the one for me? Possibly, if you just take your time.
Just take your time
and choose wisely.
Well, I wanted someone who would care for me, and he made me feel special. But I knew in my heart this could never be successful. I want to make sure it's Jehovah's way. Let his word guide me. And I'm willing to wait just to have him made, living the truth beside me. Take your time. Patience is the key. Just wait and see. Use your head, though your heart may not agree, and think, is this the one for me? Possibly, if you just take your time.
Just take your time
and choose wisely.
And choose wisely.
Was that ever heartwarming? Oh, I'm gonna choose wisely. Well, I can't use the words I on this internet, but I kind of
Thank you for not using those words. No, sorry, snorted.
I kind of had a lot of fun. That's an F word.
Forget you.
I kind of there's a saying that says you shit the bed, Vern. When it comes to that marriage in the JW religion, I tried it and it was a disaster. I watch this stuff. It's a disaster. They do I'm gonna throw it back on the screen here.
Do you know what I like in that too, hun?
What?
A Disney song.
Yeah, it was a Disney song for sure. They're trying to fluff this up. I just punched in weddings. This was the very first video that came up. They're all kind of songs, I guess, weddings. That's when they play songs. But I'm going through this, choose wisely. This girl, she could have chose a doctor, but higher education's a no-no. Did you see the doctor there? I thought Oh wow, she's gonna get it right here. She's gonna get a doctor. She had the chance of she's looks like she's an RN. She's an RN, registered nurse. Do you have to go to university for that? I don't know. Oh, it's kind of gray area. So she's an RN. Why couldn't she go out with a doctor? Like that'd be the best. That'd be kind of neat. They get some more doctors, JW doctors, maybe fight their blood thing maybe for them. Well, she turned the doctor down. She goes to the meeting. She's looking. See her blinking? When she has eyes, she's blinking. Well, blink, 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 blink at that guy. He's a window washer. But I'm gonna check him out. He's a window. Oh, look at his parents are nice. They're JWs. Oh, he's a window washer though. He's not a doctor. Let me think about that. I'm gonna go out in service and think about it. There he is. He's working behind the literature counter. He's got privileges. Oh, then we go out in the serve. Oh, there he is. He's out in service. Anyways, this is how it is in the JW organization. I'm making a bit of fun of it, but it is Mary within. We're going to look at the elders book tonight, and we're going to see what it has to say before we get into prisons, the exciting part. Okay, so who's with us tonight? Exciting night. We have Keith Silver. He was the first one on. Keith was on a lot earlier. He even put a poem on. Keith, his poem is, he says, "Where do you turn, Vern, Vern, Vern?" So I had to think about it for a bit. Figure out how do you rhyme that one back. So I did. Learn, 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 even though it makes me squirm, squirm, squirm. The Elder Book does just that. How do you like that, Keith? Good poem. Don't get me going on poems. I love poems. Keith, hello, Keith. Great supporter of the community. We have Beverly Howard. Hello, Beverly. Howard. Harward. Always get that wrong. Excuse me. And we have my good wife. Hello, good wife. So let's get on to this elders book thing. If you're planning on getting married, you might want to, if you're a JW, well, or if you were a JW and you wondered why things were the way they were with the elders, well, it's because of this secret elders book. This is a secret book. No one can look at this book. This is only for the elders. The elders' wives cannot look at it. And by the way, I'm not an elder, never have been an elder. I have never seen the elders' book. It was always secret. It was always used as a carrot. I did get to be a ministerial servant for a year or two, and it was a carrot. And then I got deleted, didn't measure up. Anyways, weddings. Presiding at weddings, 2 to 5 weddings that are organized in harmony with Bible principles, honor Jehovah. This is especially true with regard to weddings that are held at the Kingdom Hall. Presiding at weddings. So I don't know, maybe in the comments, let us know, have you ever been married in a Kingdom Hall? I was married to a JW, but we weren't allowed to get married in the Kingdom Hall. That's another story. Presiding at weddings, if available, an elder should be used to preside at a Christian wedding. And a couple may request a specific elder to give their wedding talk. Otherwise, the body of elders may select an elder to do so. Now, in many lands except Norway, I had to throw that in.
Only elders can give wedding talks?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so in many lands except Norway, I'm just putting that in. It's not in there. We're giving you guys the rest of the story. There's probably a bunch of other lands. Well, in most lands, I guess the government authorizes ministers of Jehovah's Witnesses to administer the marriage vows. And that's where they become, in Canada here, they have to go and take a little course online about being a commissioner of oath. They get a stamp. And you have to, they have to be good people. You can't have criminal records and stuff like that to get one of those stamps. Okay, number 3.
Wedding talks are usually friends and family, not elders.
Yeah.
That's all. That's where I find that weird.
Well, you see, they're using, my good wife was asking, well, why mostly friends and family give wedding talks? Well, I guess if they want to compare it to a church, the church minister, he's also a commissioner of oath. He has the ability to marry in most churches. So in the Jehovah's Witness church or religion, if you want to call it that, they have to qualify. So you can apply to be a marriage, to have the ability to perform marriages, and there's an application that they make to the government.
So they actually have to get a civil license
They
to
have to
marry
get,
people.
yes. It may say that. I have not read this
And I
elder's book.
believe a priest, through the rights of the church, has permission to marry. They're legally binding. So
Mhm.
interesting. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so probably the priest would have to get licensed by the country.
Because there's marriages are licensed
By the country.
locally.
Yeah.
So yeah, great point.
Okay, so it's run by the government. And that's what it's saying here. The government authorizes this evil government. I'm throwing words in here, but the government authorizes ministers of Jehovah's Witnesses to administer marriage vows. There it is. Okay, so number 3, an elder may preside at a wedding of 2 Christians or of 2 unbaptized publishers who are progressing toward baptism. Isn't that interesting, right? So an elder may preside at a wedding of 2 Christians. I want you guys to know what this means. 2 Christians, that's 2 baptized Christians in good standing, or of 2 unbaptized publishers who are progressing. So let's say you're studying with someone and they're unbaptized, you're studying with them and they're not married. Can they get married in the Kingdom Hall? They're saying yes. But here's the caveat, folks. If one of you is baptized and one of you is not baptized, you can't get married in the Kingdom Hall. Why? I don't know. But yet they're allowing 2 unbaptized publishers progressing toward baptized to get married. So if you're one of you is baptized and another one's unbaptized progressing toward baptism, you can't get married at the Kingdom Hall. Let's see if they talk about this. Now, before agreeing to do so, he should consider the following. They just put it here. This is how sneaky, let's say if they leave it at that, but this is why I could not get married at the Kingdom Hall. I was trying to marry a 3rd generational JW who was studying forever to get baptized, wanted to get baptized, wanted to get baptized. They wouldn't let her. Wouldn't let her get baptized, wanted to get baptized, wouldn't let her get baptized, wanted to get baptized, wouldn't let her get baptized. So we said, the heck with it. We went and got married by a commissioner of oath in my worldly grandmother's house. And we got disfellowshipped for 6 months over this fiasco of them not allowing her to get baptized. Because all that leads us to fornication, elders, because you're always waiting and waiting. You're in love, you want to get married, you're in love. That's, they got a problem, the elders book here. But anyways, that's what my experience was. It is what it is. Number 1, confirm that the prospective bride and groom are scripturally legally free to marry. And this is causing a lot of JWs, a lot of problems. So what happens is one person leaves the religion, leaves the marriage. And you got this JW in good standing wanting to get married. So the spouse left, and they doesn't know where the spouse is, takes off, starts a new life. Now, the ex has to prove that the spouse is remarried. Well, she's not remarried. He's not remarried. He or she not remarried, just gone. This JW cannot get married. Now, obviously, they're probably having sex and stuff like that, but he would have to hire a certified, licensed investigator, and it cost him thousands of dollars to hunt her down or him down. I'm using a her because I know of a situation. It's a funny one. I'm not going to say it. Okay. So this happens, and so you got to be scripturally and legally free to remarry. You got to prove it. And you got to confirm their standing in respective congregation. So you might have an elder who's not legally free to remarry. His wife left him long ago. years ago, but he can't. She never remarried. His wife never got married again. So they're in limbo. They can't, neither of them can do anything. Maybe she's doesn't want to get married. She just wants to be a lesbian. Let's say she wanted to be a lesbian. She's not going to remarry. That throws a stickler into things, doesn't it? I don't know if they're going to cover this here or not, but this is the Secret Elders book. So let's see what it turns over. I have not read this. We are going through this live, you and I together. So any comments you have, let me know. Okay, so here's what they do. They you got to meet with the couple to make a tactful but straightforward inquiries. This is the elders book, guys. They're teaching the elders to be investigators. Do you get that? Okay, you got to sneak in, meet with the couple to make a tactful but sneaky, straightforward inquiries about their conduct during courtship. So you got to find out if there's any petting, any breasting, things like that. Let's see if they talk about it. Number two, if either prospective bride or groom was married before, he or she should have provided convincing evidence to the elders that establishes his or her scriptural freedom to remarry. There's their big deal. So if you're married before, you have to have convincing evidence to the elders that establishes his or her scriptural freedom to remarry. So the elder presiding at the wedding should confirm this is the case and should review a copy of the divorce decree or similar legal document to confirm that the divorce was finalized. So let's say one of the spouses, the partners disappears and you're trying to trace it down to get a divorce signed and you can't get a divorce signed, then you're not legally free to remarry either. So they're looking for that divorce certificate. And you can't get remarried without a divorce certificate. You got to get divorced. I don't know. It's different in every country, the rules. So now, if there is any question about the matter of scriptural freedom to remarry, the body of elders should write to the service department to clarify matters before the wedding. So this is really dicey. The situation that I know of is two people in the Kingdom Hall that want to get married, and one of the partners can't prove that the other partner did anything wrong, left the religion, but the one partner can't find the ex-wife, and so can't get a divorce signed, can't get anything. So this guy is trying to get married, and he can't get married in the Kingdom Hall. They can't get married. And if they get married, they're going to get disfellowship for fornication. So it's interesting. This is what the religion pushes people into. Um, it's sad, really, but like really, this guy should be able to go get married, just go get his divorce because it's 2 years. When you're in Canada here, when you're separated for 2 years, you can get a divorce on that grounds. Just no, you don't have to have fornication or anything. Excuse me. Now, number three, an elder who decides to give a wedding talk must confirm that he is permitted by law to administer the vows in the town or community where the wedding will take place. So, for instance, if he's in Norway, he can give a wedding talk, but he cannot sign the registry. The couple has to go downtown to the government, to the civil courts or whatever they do in Norway, and they sign their marriage certificate there. So the elder can still give the talk. Now, it says here the local authorities may require that a minister who performs weddings registers and provides proof of his ordination. In some lands, the authorities may accept a letter signed by the body of elders confirming the brother's appointment as an elder in the local congregation. And if this does not suffice, the elder should determine exact requirements and then, if necessary, write to the service department for assistance. And if the elder is not permitted by law to administer the vows, another elder who meets such legal requirements may administer the vows immediately after the wedding talk. And the elder who administers the vows would complete the necessary documents. So what they're saying here is if, let's say, an elder didn't qualify, he was giving the talk, maybe the couple wanted that elder to give their talk. Maybe he's their uncle or something. I don't know. father. So he gives the talk, but he couldn't get registered to do the documents. He can use another elder that's already registered to do those documents. That's all it's saying. Number 4, those who are engaged to be married are in particular need of shepherding by the loving elders. Why? They want to get in, I thought it's just 2 people are in a marriage, not 3. The elders should be really looking at, they want to get into bed with the couple, is what they want to do. Get right in the middle of it. They want to be a part of it, these elders. It's no wonder elders have a bad name, eh? But anyways, this is what it says. Those who are engaged to be married, they're in need of shepherding by loving elders. They need a threesome in their relationship. You can't do it just with twosome, not two of you, not in the JW religion. That's why I say I personally feel every JW marriage is null and void because it's based on a threesome. It's right here in the elders book. It's not based on the couple figuring their path out, figuring their future out, figuring out their life together. The couple. No, no, no. You got to have an elder, and they assign an elder into your into your courtship. And we're going to learn how they do it here. It says right here. It says you have a particular need of shepherding by loving elders. Scriptural encouragement can help them make a success of their wedding and their future marriage. They should be encouraged to do the research in the Bible and Christian publications. In other words, they want them going to the Watchtower Bond volumes and reading all about it, watching all their videos. They don't want them going to any worldly place to get a book on how to please your partner, kind of a thing. None of that. That's taboo. It's all Watchtower Bond volumes. Well, Bond volumes in my day, videos and JW.org, the golden calf. They want you going to the golden calf because that's what you worship. So obviously, if you worship the golden calf, you have to figure out how the golden calf is part of your marriage. So your marriage is a threesome. JW.org is your threesome in your marriage. And whether you like that or not, that's what it is. Now, scriptural encouragement, I was married for 28 years in that religion. 28 years, that's a big feat. I know there was a threesome all the way through, and I wasn't there for it. But you see, each party is loyal to the golden calf, jw.org, the bond volumes, the videos. We'll go there if you're, that's how they run the organization. That's how they run your marriage. So those who are engaged to be married, they need shepherding. Scriptural encouragement can help them in their future marriage. They do encourage to research the Bible Christian publications, and such prayerful study will strengthen them to remain chaste during the courtship and will help them to plan their wedding in a way that will honor Jehovah and leave them with a clean conscience. And for example, if they're planning a wedding reception, they should be reminded to review the latest material published by the faithful slave. Isn't that something, eh? You'd think that a Bible educational religion, like there's not a whole lot of stuff saying go to the Bible, go to the Bible. There's not a lot of stuff here. I want to just stop here for a bit. And after I got out of the religion, I found it easier to go to the Bible. And I'm going to show you. I think let me see if I can get here. Here. Okay. So I'm going to pull up the Bible tool. And I haven't done this. This is live, so we're just doing this together. I'm just going to punch in marriage. And like, why wouldn't JW.org just say go to the Bible? See what the Bible says about your marriage. Like, isn't that what a Bible religion company would do? Like any church would tell you to go to the Bible? Marriage, Genesis. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and his mother, hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. So my first question would be: are you still living in your mom's basement? And you want to get married? Yeah, you shouldn't be courting girls, because if you're courting girls, you're going to knock them up. You're going to feel obligated to get married, and they're not moving into my house in the basement. That'd be my first thing. Would be that. A man has to leave, has to go get on his own, get a job, figure out what it's going to take. Not go to Bethel, not go out in service. Go figure it out. What is it going to take? Because every man is attracted, has this natural desire to have a wife, and vice versa. So as a man, go figure it out. It's not about service, not about Bethel. It's about getting out of your father and your mother's basement and getting on your own, getting your own apartment, getting your own job, figuring this all out. Just like your dad did. Watch, what did your dad do all his life? And if you didn't have a dad, well, what did someone else's dad? What did your uncle do? There's always an example that's good in a family. So what's the next thing? Hebrews says, let marriage be held honorable among all, undefiled. So that's the marriage itself. That's after you get married. Proverbs says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So bang, go get yourself a good wife, man. It's God's going to bless you. It's a good thing. I don't know. This is what I would do. I'd read the Bible to people. Here's one. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It's not arrogant or rude, does not insist on its own. These are good things to read, right? If you're going to help someone get married. But not JW Org. They watching this fluffy video that we just watched. And here they get you into their bond volumes and their all their stuff. So those who are engaged to be married need shepherding by loving elders, prayerful study, remain chaste. So, for example, if you're planning to have a wedding reception, you're not going to call the caterers and have someone do it. You're going to read all of this bond volume stuff. You see it all? I'm just slowly highlighting over it. All these are all Watchtower of 2000, Watchtower of 97, April 15th, and it goes on and on. You're going to read all that stuff as an elder. You're going to have those people that are wanting to get married read all that stuff. Then as a loving shepherd, you're going to get back to them, make sure they read all this stuff. And then you probably have your nose right in the middle of their wedding, wondering what they're going to do. So then number 5, the wedding talk is based on the outline honorable marriage in God's sight. The talk should highlight the God-given responsibility that the marriage couples must assume and carry out in harmony with the scriptures. So you see, they have an outline, S41. It's the whole marriage talk. It's all, excuse me, folks. I'm gonna have to have a cough drop here. Time of year, everything's going around. But it's this S41 is a marriage talk. They got a whole bunch of talks, and this is the one that they would give when they're doing a marriage. So now the talk should highlight the God-given responsibility that the marriage couple must assume and carry out in harmony with the scriptures. The talk should be delivered with love, warmth, dignity, honor, and seriousness. And the speaker should resist the temptation to make funny remarks just for the sake of making the audience laugh. That's good advice, really. And since this could betray a lack of respect for the audience, and I think more for the couple, right? But you could throw a couple of jokes in as long as you passed it by the bride and the groom, right? Jokes are kind of fun if they're proper. But it doesn't say that here, but I think you could. During a wedding talk, the speaker should not project any moving video footage on screens or monitors. However, a few appropriate still images during a talk are acceptable as visual aids. Okay, well, that's good, I guess. How can you watch a video and listen to a talk? My wife can. I'm not good at it. Now, if any video footage is used before or after a wedding talk, it should be in good taste. The entire occasion should be spiritually upbuilding and dignified. And as part of the preparations, the elder who will preside at the wedding may provide suggestions to the couple on how they can adjust the slideshow or the video to harmonize with Bible principles. And the aforementioned direction regarding video footage also applies in connection with the funeral talks. So this is interesting. I went to, when I was first studying, I was young, I don't know, 18, 19. And the brother that studied with me, he was getting married. And so his sister and myself, we put on a skit, and I dressed up like a woman and she dressed up like the guy. And the next thing you know, after we did this at the wedding, it was kind of a surprise. It was way back in the 80s. And the next thing you know, we were in a elders meeting, and I was counseled for dressing up like a woman. You're not supposed to do that. And they don't really allow that kind of thing. Even back then, they didn't like it. So, anyways, I guess I was always pushing the envelope right from the beginning in this religion. Now that I'm reading the elders book, I didn't realize that was the rules. Like if they would have showed me the elders book when I was started, I would have known the rules, right? They wouldn't have to pull me in and give me a side talk all the time. So that's why I think it's important that everyone kind of knows what's in this book, this secret elders book. Now it says the no funniness going on. They don't want funniness. And during the wedding talk, the speakers should not project any moving videos. Um, it should be used if they have video footage, they say use it after the wedding talk in good taste. And the entire occasion should be spiritually upbuilding and dignified as part of the preparations. The elder who will preside at the wedding may provide suggestions to the couple on how they can adjust a slideshow or video to harmonize the Bible principles. And the aforementioned direction regarding video footage also applies in connection with a funeral talk. Sorry for clearing my voice. Just one of those things this time of year.
Move the couch.
Okay, use of the Kingdom Hall. Everyone wants to get married in the Kingdom Hall. I don't know if they're going to talk about it here, but I remember we got married one, or I went to a wedding once, and I was brand new in it, this religion, just starting. And the guy I looked up to, he was raised in it, and we were just chumming around. We went down and rented tuxedos. You can rent them for a day. So we went down and rented them for a day. We're kind of looking for girls, right? So we went into the Kingdom Hall. We were like 18, 19. And man, everyone thought we were part of the bridal groom party. And the groom, they just had normal suits and ties. Whoops. So I would recommend don't ever do that. I felt very weird. But that guy I was with, that he ended up getting DF, but he was just extreme. Okay, number 6, prospective bride and groom who wish to use the Kingdom Hall for their wedding should submit a written request to the elders well in advance of the wedding date, indicating the specific day and time they desire to use the hall. And that makes sense because you got to book any hall. You got to make arrangements, right? Now, the congregation service committee should meet promptly to consider the following. They should, number 1, confirm that the prospective bride and groom are scripturally and legally free to marry, and they are in good standing. That's the big thing, good standing in the respective congregations. So that's the big thing. If you're not in good standing, probably can't use the Kingdom Hall. You can get married, but you just can't use the Kingdom Hall. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, what happens with courting couples, there's things that happen. I don't even have to tell you, but there's things that happen that go beyond first base. If you go beyond first base kissing, I think they don't even like you to be kissing outside of a chaperone. They want someone sitting there with you watching you kiss, I think. Let's see if it says it here. I don't know. But anyways, you have to be in good standing. If this is true of the 2 unbaptized publishers who are progressing toward baptism, they may be approved to use the Kingdom Hall. Undocumented alien may use the Kingdom Hall. That's funny they said that, eh? An undocumented alien from outer space? Do we have aliens in here from outer space? No, I'm just jiving you. They're talking about alien residents, and I don't know why they don't put the word residents in there. You know, maybe some of the governing body are aliens from outer space. I don't know. Who knows? Alien residents. It must mean alien residents of the Earth, right? So I'm going to finish this properly. An undocumented alien resident on Earth, alien to your country, probably. So if this person's not registered in the country that you're in, let's say in Canada, let's say someone comes up from Mexico, wants to marry a Canadian, but he's just kind of snuck in here, working for the bee farmers. Bee farmers up here hire a lot of Mexicans, probably undocumented. They just come up. You can come up for 6 months. They get a visa yeah, you get a passport. You can come up for 6 months. Bee season isn't that long, and they work in bee season, make a shitload of money, and go back to Mexico. They're undocumented aliens. That's alien residents. So then one's a Jehovah's Witness, goes to the Kingdom Hall up here in Canada. They want to get married. Guess what? They can get married. An undocumented alien may use the Kingdom Hall for his wedding if he meets the civil marriage requirements. Uh-oh. Civil marriage requirements. Uh-oh. Well, maybe you see that's how you can pull people into the country, right? You marry them. So if you marry someone out of country and an undocumented alien, then they become documented through the marriage, maybe. I'm not sure, but you have to meet marriage requirements. And he is otherwise qualified as outlined in section 29, 3 to 7. 29, 3 to 7. So that's another section of the book that we haven't covered yet. I don't know if we'll get there. Okay, well, anyways, there's a lot an elder would have to consider going through all of this. Number 2, the time of the wedding and the rehearsal should not interfere with the scheduled meetings or other scheduled programs at the hall. And if other congregations share the hall, the service committee should confirm the hall's availability with other service committees. And number 3, the service committees that decide whether there is a need to make a brief announcement to the congregation about the use of the Kingdom Hall for a wedding. And now number 4, the service committee should be kept up to date on the couple's plans regarding the use of the Kingdom Hall. And for example, any decorations of the Kingdom Hall or, the chairs, rearrangement of the chairs, they must all be approved by the service committee. And you can only use music from Sing Out Joyfully to Jehovah or the original songs from JW Broadcasting. You can use them. You can't use anything else. You can't pull in your favorite wedding song from your country singer or anything like that. It's kind of lame. But anyways, you can use the JW stuff. And the wedding party should not include any disfellowship person or anyone whose lifestyle grossly conflicts with Bible principles. Now, they sure don't say that out loud in Norway, do they? That the wedding party should not include a disfellowship person. That's BS. What if it's his brother that just quit going and he got shunned? Like, they'll call that disfellowshipping. It's all the same. So this has to be, that's why it's good we read this stuff, guys. It's a Secret Elders book. This exposes them. Now they got their nose in your wedding. They said publicly that they don't get involved in people's lives outside of spirituality. Why are they involved in my wedding? That's nothing to do with their spirituality. That's my brother wants to be my best man, but he's not part of the part. He left the Kingdom Hall. He didn't continue on. He just left. Can't use him because he's disassociated himself. It's the same thing. That's how this is. So now baptism is not a requirement. Anyone assigned to take photographs or to record the ceremony should do nothing that would cause a distraction through the talk or any other ways that would distract from the seriousness and dignity of the occasion. And number 5 is if it is learned that the couple has engaged in serious wrongdoing that will require handling by a judicial committee, the couple can use the Kingdom Hall. could use the kingdom hall. Maybe, no, it says they may not. You may not use the kingdom hall. You're done. You're toast. Yeah, serious wrongdoing. And serious wrongdoing does not have to be fornication. It could be petting, it could be breasting, it could be anything like that. They're going to call it serious. They don't want you touching. You got to have 3 people when you go on a date. That's the way it is. But the that's the rules, right? It's right here in the elders book. So, an elder would say, well, that's the rules. I can't do anything about it. It's in the elders book. Well, now you guys see it is in the elders book. Okay. So if neither is disfellowshipped, it is left to the discretion of the elder as to whether he will preside at the wedding at another location. So let's say a couple got counseled for breasting or touching or petting. No one's disfellowshipped. It didn't get to fornication, and no one knew about it. It was private. You went on a secret date. You went, and this is what happens, folks. They monitor the hell out of these relationships, and then these couples sneak off to a movie, the movie night. Hey, I'll meet you at the theater. So they meet at the theater. They're sitting there in the theater, and there's a little bit of touching, a little bit of breasting, a little bit of petting over the clothes, and then their conscience bothers them. And stupid them, they go and tell someone, an elder, usually an elder, and the elder that's got his nose in the middle of the couple's wedding stuff, because they assign an elder to your wedding. So you got this elder that you're supposed to confide in. You're going to go tell him, and now it's a problem. So now he might not give your wedding at that kingdom hall. I don't know. Now it's up to his discretion. You didn't get disfellowship. You got it reproved. What they call it, private reproof. Boy, you're thinking I know a lot about this stuff because I've been in lots of meetings for all of these things. It hasn't changed, folks. Back to the day I was in, back in the 1980s, it's 2024. Shit, that's 50 years later. This organization is still doing the damn same stuff, the same crap. They're involved in people's relationships like they shouldn't be. And, that forces people to do things. If you just leave people alone and don't monitor them like that, they're going to have a better relationship, a better courtship. Okay, moving forward. Unilateral breaking of engagements to marriage, to be married. Unilateral. So that means what? You both agree. Generally, there is no need for elders to inquire into the unilateral breaking of engagements to marry unless the one who broke the engagement is being used in an exemplary way, and a complaint is lodged by the other party or a number of people in the congregation, and they're disturbed about the matter, and this has resulted in a lack of respect for the one breaking the engagement. So if a brother was working on the literature counter and he broke off, everyone was getting excited, it was public, the wedding was scheduled, maybe even arrangements were made, last minute he breaks it off, he might lose his privileges because his reputation is harmed in the congregation. Now, it goes on to say, in determining whether the individual is disqualified from being used in an exemplary way, the elders will need to use good judgment. And where there is valid reasons for breaking the engagement, or does a person take the engagement agreement lightly? You see, so what was his reasons for breaking the engagement? That would become public to the elders, or elders, probably 2 elders at least. They'll all want to know. Don't you kid yourself. They all go into their elders meeting and they have coffee and they talk about all the gossip. They share it all. They say it's private, but I don't believe it is. I know it isn't, because I've seen these guys talk in field service groups. You go out in the service with elders, they talk about everything. I got stuck in a group with elders once, and I was a ministerial servant. They thought I was going to be an elder, but I didn't make it past year 1, I think. But anyways, engagements. Okay, so let's say a guy was going to break an engagement off, or a girl. Let's say the girl found out that the guy was involved in petting. It was all private, petting, breasting other girls or something. You see, all JW org is so private. So this is all hidden up, but she found out. Well, she has a valid reason. She didn't know about it. He's trying to breast her, right? Touch her, maybe. So she breaks it off. She's allowed to break that off. And that guy should lose his privileges, and he probably would, right? Okay, so does a person, so if a brother broke it off because a better catch came along, someone else was eyeing, he's going to lose his privileges, and he should be his ass should be kicked too, but they don't do that. Has the congregation in general lost respect for the individual? Okay, that's it. That's it on marriage, weddings. I thought very loose, nothing. I don't know. Well, you guys tell me, what did you guys think of marriages, weddings? Let's look through the comments. Then we're going to get into prisons. We're going to look at a prison video. That's next. So I'm going to go all the way up here. What do we have for comments? Not a lot. Keith wants to go swimming. What else? Swimming. That's a good point, Keith, going swimming, eh? I'll never forget this. I was told this by one elder, because I said to the elder, I said, well, like I was a young guy, and I just kind of asked elders all kinds of stuff. I said, well, how the heck am I going to see her naked? Like, I want to get married to her, but what if the surprise is just so disastrous on my wedding night that I want to be out of there? I want to see her naked. So you know what he told me? He said, take her to meet her at the swimming pool, public swimming pool, and tell her to wear a bikini. That's what he told me, the elder. So I thought that was good advice. Keith said, let's go swimming. You want to see a girl naked? Well, that's about as good as you're going to see her naked if you're a JW. Okay, Yvonne, when you work 12 hours a day or more. Okay, so you guys are just chit-chatting. I'm going to move on. We're going to get into prisons. Anybody ever work prisons out there? I never worked prisons. I I was never wanting to go to prisons. We heard a lot. There was a lot of prisons around, but there was no prisons in our territory, although you could apply to do prison work, I heard, but I just wasn't interested in prisons. So we're going to take a look at prisons. Some people are interested in prisons. Some people go to prison. Lots of JWs are going to prison now. Okay, so we looked at take your time, choose wisely. The next video is on prisons. I thought I had it opened up, but I guess not. It's help prisoners. So helping prisoners learn how Bible truth is reaching out the hearts of people in prison. This is it's a short video.
I've been working with the program for 7 years. Almost without exception, these men do come from violent backgrounds. That's why they're in this facility. For you to rise above that in that environment is formidable. The building was built in the 40s. It's a lot of cold steel and cinder block. When I walk through the prison halls, the floors are cold, they're concrete, and it's a little depressing. But in the company of those men that are trying to apply Bible principles, it's actually a very warm and inviting group of people to be with. When you see them start to study and the kind of person they are, angry, and then over time, they start to change and they start to view the other men in the group as their brother, it is remarkable. It's conducted just like any other meeting outside. They're able to raise their hand and express themselves and share with the group what they've learned. The end result is that it's a very encouraging session. It's spiritually upbuilding. Many of the officers do appreciate the work we do because they do see a change in the men. They see them wear ties to the meeting. No one wears ties in the prison. They do not use the language that is very common among prisoners. Perhaps the most dramatic change is in the personality. To see them become peace-loving and to not respond with violence is very impressive. Robert is still fairly new to this whole program, but he's made a tremendous amount of progress. He is a formidable man. He's a big man. He tended to be extremely aggressive in the way that he dealt with others. I have seen a change in him, his personality.
Those bad traits, they were there, and they still are. They don't go away, but you learn to control it. You learn not to let it get the best of you because you're trying to show Jehovah that you really want his help. God's word can penetrate all the way through us and transform us and change us. And when we learn about what Jehovah wants of us and how he wants to help us, it softens your heart, because you want to try to live up to what he wants, not what you were.
Once these men acquire a bit of knowledge, they share it with their fellow inmates.
Where do we always refer to if we're trying to learn something?
We go to the scripture. We go right to the source.
Just to see it in someone's eye when they hear the truth and they grab it, grab the fact that what they were told was a lie and then it's been corrected and they see it from God's word and it means something to them, then that's the best reward that you can have.
A lot of these prisons are in our backyard, and there's a tremendous need. Jehovah's Witnesses are all about education and improving oneself. When you see the progress that the men make and you see how the application of Bible principles makes them better people, makes them happier people, that's the most important work a person could do.
Okay. Who wants to go and work in prisons as a Jehovah's Witness? Would you want to? Well, what I seen there is they're probably doing some good work from what the video shows. Mind you, these are all canned videos, so we don't really know if that happens in every prison. That could be one exemplary prison. I'm not sure. So let's see. Let's read their book. See what their book says. Okay, so it's a big opportunity prisons for pioneers, I guess. There's extra credits you get. You're at the Kingdom Hall. And oh yeah, look at that pioneer. He works prisons. It's just that kind of a thing. Okay, so we're going to look at what they say here. Number one, on one or more prisons may be located within the congregation's assigned territory. And though visits to prisoners are often restricted, it may be possible for publishers to receive permission from prison authorities to visit individuals who have requested spiritual help. The guidelines in this chapter may apply to other facilities where access to the general public is not allowed. Okay, so let's move through this. Contact congregation. The branch office will assign one or more congregations to serve as contact congregations to take the lead in following up initial interest and caring for long-term spiritual needs of prisoners who study the Bible and become Jehovah's Witnesses. Just excuse me here for a second. Okay, I'm back. The Congregation Service Committee of the Contact Congregation selects qualified baptized adult publishers to participate. This feature the ministry. The service overseer takes the lead in coordinating their work, and if needed, qualified publishers from nearby congregations may be included if approved by their service committees. Appropriate portions of this chapter should be shared orally with publishers approved to participate in this aspect of the ministry. So I don't think they're allowing, like they say adult, you notice kids aren't going in, adult publishers. If a congregation is unable to continue to serve as the contact congregation, the service committee should send a letter to the service department providing the reason. The congregation. So let's say the prison's in your territory and you couldn't do it. You'd let the service department know. If the brother knows of another congregation that is willing to serve in their place, the letter should be approved by both service committees. The branch office will indicate in writing whether or not it's approved. Correspondence with the branch office. A lot of branch office stuff here. The congregation secretary is responsible for sending this correspondence to the preaching needs desk in the service department regarding the work at the facility. And the complete name and address of the person should always be included in the correspondence. If there's need to communicate about the spiritual needs of a specific prisoner, include his name and identification number if known. Wonder if they know that's happening. Privacy records. You see, folks, you know that JW.org, even if you're just a return visit, they're keeping records on you. And this is an example where they're taking records. This prisoner has rights, I guess. Why should he be recorded at the watchtower? Well, here it is in the elders book. So each September, the secretary should submit a prison information S68 form for each facility. Wonder what's in there. And it says this is which the congregation is assigned as a contact congregation. If several different yards or units are in the facility, a separate form for each unit should be submitted. If after the form is submitted in September, the information on the form needs to be updated, a revised form should be submitted. Probably of all the return visits, all the people that they're talking to in the prison. Now, for direction regarding an inmate who has been accused of child abuse and who is now associating with the congregation, just please cover that up and shred all the records. Can you believe that? Well, it doesn't say that. I said that. But anyways, what is it saying? It says see chapter 14, paragraph 9 of 27. We should go and look at that. Chapter 14, paragraph 9 and 27. Let's look at that separately. I don't want to close this elders book. So I'll open it up again. That was chapter 14, paragraph 9. I want to see what it says. Chapter 14, child abuse. Chapter 14, prison inmates. 9. Is that the one? And 27, 9 and 27. So it says 2 elders should immediately call legal department. So this is if they find out there's a pedophile attending their little groups at their study groups at the prison, like they showed in their movie. So that would they'd have 2 elders immediately call the legal department regarding any prison inmate, baptized or unbaptized, who has been accused of child abuse and who is now associating with the congregation. So they have inside congregations, you see, in the prisons. They call them congregations sometimes, but they'll attach them to the congregation that's assigned to go in there. That's how they do it. Sometimes these prisoners can get day passes and they can go to a congregation assembly and stuff like that. So that's why they attend these churches. It gives them an in to be in with a lot of kids, stuff like that, child abusers, right? But what they're going to do here, it says they're going to immediately call the legal department regarding this inmate who has been accused of this. And this would include his attending meetings held in the prison. So they're spelling it out here. And in some cases, elders may not be permitted to inquire about the offense that an inmate may have committed. There's privacy laws, right? So, however, if the elder learns that the alleged offense has to do with child abuse, they should immediately call the legal department. So they're really on this now. So we're going to go to 27. What does it say in 27? That's the other reference they made. And all the way down here, right here. So when the elders are informed that an individual who has been accused of child sex abuse, established or not, has moved into the congregation, two elders should immediately call the legal department. This should also be done if the individuals, one, is disfellowshipped or disassociated and is attending meetings. Number two, regularly moves away to live at a second residence. Or number three, and this is what we're talking about, is in prison and has transferred from one facility to another or is released. Because eventually they're going to get released on good behavior and they'll be coming to the meetings. So it looks like they're keeping logs of all of this now. The lawsuits are too great to leave this go unchecked. So this is the 2024 Secret Elders book, and it's showing how they're managing CSA with prison inmates. Okay, this section is called Communication with Prison Officials. Number 8, a pleasant, persistent approach is often successful. Elders should keep appointments with inmates and officials and adhere to the regulations of the institution. And when proof of ordination as a minister is required, the elders should write an official letter using the congregation's letterhead. The letter should clearly identify the individual as an ordained minister of the congregation, state the date of his or her ordination or baptism, and be signed by the congregation service committee. And if the letter is not accepted by a facility, the elders may write to the service department for further direction, including a copy letter that was rejected. The Jehovah's Witness religion is the easiest religion to be ordained. This is just my own points. And when they talk about this ordination as a minister, when you're baptized, you're an ordained minister. That's a bunch of BS. You can have these little kids that become ordained ministers at 12 years old. They don't know anything. They know squat. But a real ordained minister would go through a lot of training. In today's world, it's 7 years. It's like a university degree to become an ordained minister. In some religions, you can do it in 4, but most it's a 7-year venture. And part of the 7 years is like an internship. You have to kind of work with someone for a few years to see if you're like a ministerial servant elder kind of a situation. But the Jehovah's Witness religion has nothing. There's no training on psychology. You see, ordained ministers are trained on psychology. They're trained on CSA, what to do, how to call the authority, contact the authority. All of that training is given to ordained ministers. Most ordained ministers, not with Jehovah's Witnesses. A child can be an ordained minister. In fact, they have unbaptized publishers. That's why we know it's a farce. It's all about getting people marketing their business. Now it's just a business card. They have unbaptized publishers that are going out in the ministry like an ordained minister, carrying out the same work as an ordained minister, they call it, getting baptized. Okay, referrals and contact with prisoners. Number 9. When the contact congregation receives a referral from the branch office, the service overseer should follow up promptly. He may be able to provide literature and assign qualified publishers to visit regularly and, if possible, conduct a one-on-one or group studies at the facility. That's what they want to do. They want to get into those group studies, right? Now, if personal contact is not possible, perhaps a qualified publisher approved by the Congregation Service Committee could be assigned to correspond with a prisoner. Sisters should correspond only with female prisoners, and brothers should correspond with male prisoners. The return address of the Kingdom Hall or another appropriate address may be used instead of the publisher's home address in order to protect the privacy of the publisher. However, the return address of the branch office should not be used. Okay. Pretty standard stuff, really, I guess. I don't know. It's just whatever, I guess. You see, people in prison, gives them something to do, I guess. Maybe they get extra points in prison because they're attending a church group. Gives them a chance for an early parole, maybe. Maybe they want to clean, feel better, learn the Bible. The Jehovah's Witness religion, they teach your past is your past, you're forgiven it. People want forgiveness. Let's say they're a murderer or something, they want forgiveness. So the Jehovah's Witness religion is good at that. They appease people's consciences and make them feel good about becoming a Jehovah's Witness, and that their past is their past. That's how a lot of this stuff works. Okay, the ministry, number 10, literature. It is preferred that a prisoner inmate requests for visits or literature through publishers approved to visit the facility, or by making a request directly to the branch office. And this allows the individual to give evidence of his genuine interest and may assist publishers in being granted access to the facility. So they're just trying to make, they know that if let's say there's a prisoner that wants a visit, you tell them to contact the branch. It makes it look more serious to the prison itself, and just gives more credibility. That's all they're trying to do here. And it says, if needed, the secretary of the contact congregation may contact the preaching needs desk. That's kind of new to me, the preaching needs desk. It's held within the service department on behalf of the inmate. And for example, some facilities do not allow visitors to bring literature to inmates, but do permit the branch office to mail literature to the person. Okay. The branch is going to be more secure, I guess. Okay, so disfellowshipped inmates may obtain literature, including special request items upon request. Disfellowshipped inmates, there could be a lot of them. And basic publications may also be provided for the library at such facilities. Number 11. When a facility permits publishers to deliver literature to inmates, the congregation should request it as part of the regular congregation literature request. And number 12, only literature from the teaching toolbox and publications needed for congregation meetings should be provided, depending on the needs of the Bible students. And special request items should generally be provided only for the baptized publishers. Unbaptized publishers, those who are not progressing well in their studies, and disfellowshipped inmates. In such cases, the elders of the contact congregation will request these items, and special consideration can be given to those who suffer from impaired vision or when there are other extenuating circumstances. Okay, so that's how it's done, I guess, if you want to know all the inside stuff. Number 13, reporting all of this activity. It says Bible studies conducted in a prison should be reported by the publisher in the usual manner. And if many attend a Bible study being held in the prison, the Watchtower wants to come in and make a video of it so they can show how righteous they are. Oh, that was my words. It says, even if many attend the Bible study being held in a prison, one study is counted for the month. And while regular pioneers should not count field service, time for conducting or participating in the congregation meeting held in the prisons, they may report hour credit for such activity. Wow, do they ever monitor this stuff, your reporting? So while regular pioneers would not count field service time for conducting or participating in congregation meetings held in a prison, they may report hour credit for such activity. And non-pioneers should be shown extra consideration for their participation in this form of service. So I guess they want these pioneers to go to the prison meetings and they can't count time, but they can't count time. They can get hour credits, BS stuff. But then they probably want them to go home and go to their normal meetings with their normal family. So these poor pioneers, they're being really scrutinized for their time, I guess. Number 14, unbaptized or baptized publishers who are inmates should be counted as publishers in the contact congregation in their field service report should be included. You see, they try to do field service within the prison, unbaptized or baptized, they're inmates, right? And they want to count all their time. Number 15. Now I wonder, do they just count the box? I thought they just check a box. Go ahead.
Field services recruiting, right?
Well, it's going door to door, but in prison it's recruiting.
Okay,
Yeah. So their inmates, they should be counted as publishers, and their field service reports should be included. So they just have to check the box nowadays to say that they talked to someone in prison. Number 15, reporting baptisms. The contact congregation should inform the circuit overseer of the pedophiles that get baptized. What? Does it say that? No, I'm just teasing you. I'm getting bored, so I'm throwing in a few words here and there. The contact congregation should inform the circuit overseer of baptisms performed in a prison. But you wonder about all the pedophiles that want to come in and they come back, right? Or whatever, however that works, right? They sure want to know if anything squeaked out that they're in prison for CSA. Okay, number 16. Publishers who transfer to another facility. When an inmate is transferred to another facility, the congregation's publisher records S21 and the letter of introduction should be sent to the contact congregation caring for that facility. So just like going from congregation to congregation, they go from prison to prison, they move them across the country to another prison in Texas or something, and then they have to let the Texas congregation know to call on them. That's pretty standard with anything. With the NHAW, how to do it. Okay, so meetings, regular congregation meetings, when at least one baptized or unbaptized publisher will attend regularly. So all it takes is one publisher, and the attendance should be included with the contact congregation's meeting attendance. The manner in which the meetings are conducted in prison must, as closely as possible, mirror the manner in which meetings are conducted at a kingdom hall. Disfellowshipped individuals should be treated the same as they would at the meetings at a kingdom hall. And number 18, only qualified elders and ministerial servants should conduct meetings in prisons. And I'm wondering if an elder, if they can have elders in prisons. I don't know if you have to get out of prison before you can become an elder, or if someone was in prison, let's say for 25, 30 years, could they be an elder in the prison congregation? I bet you they can. I bet you they can. If they can get baptized, they can be an elder. So now these brothers could be selected from the contact congregation or from a neighboring congregation, these qualified elders. So it looks like they're using elders from the outside to go on the inside. That's what it looks like. Now, if an appointed brothers are not available, the inmates could meet as a group to view a recording of the meeting or to consider the material together. And if an inmate who has been accused of child abuse attends the meetings in prison or otherwise associates with a congregation, see chapter 14, paragraph 9 and 27. And we already just read that. They have to have 2 elders that call the legal department to let them know. Number 19, memorial. Every effort should be made to arrange for a qualified elder or a ministerial servant to conduct the memorial. And if this is not possible, the inmates may be able to view a recording of the talk, or they could discuss the Bible's account at Matthew. And memorial attendance figures should be added to the total congregation account. You know, it'd be funny if the inmates took the emblems. You know, they went in and they're anointed. They could be, right? Why not, right? Okay, number 20, extended meetings. Some facilities allow for an annual or semi-annual meeting at which the inmates are able to meet together for a long period of time than is usual. And this could be a fine opportunity for baptisms, so right in the prisons, I guess, and reviews of assembly and convention programs and so forth. And such extended meetings should not include arrangements in which congregation publishers, especially members of the opposite sex, are able to mingle freely with the prisoners. It may be that the inmates are allowed to invite family members to attend an event. However, experience has shown that it is best for those of the opposite sex, even those related to the prisoners, not to be invited to such meetings. That's what it says here. So even if the prisoner's sister wanted to come, she wouldn't be invited because she's a woman. Yeah. Anyways, rather, invitations should be extended only to those who will share in the program, volunteers who participate regularly in witnessing at the prison, and possibly a few responsible, experienced ones who would be able to encourage and shepherd the inmates so that an excellent witness is given. Elders in the circuit or from nearby congregations who have presented assembly or convention parts, they could be invited to present this information, along with parts presented by the local elders. And the invitation process should be closely monitored by the elders responsible for carrying out this program, witnessing. Okay, so what do we have left here? We're at 21. We're going to go all the way. We're almost done here. Okay. We're almost done here. So 21, hang in there. Inmates serving in an appointed capacity. This is what I was interested in. If an inmate could be an elder. I guess yes. Let's see if they could. While inmates who make spiritual progress may qualify to be baptized, they do not qualify to serve as an auxiliary or regular pioneers. They do not. Okay. Or ministerial servants or elders while in prison. Okay. So guilty until you get out of prison. Now, of course, if a regular pioneer or ministerial servant or an elder is imprisoned for maintaining its Christian integrity, like in Russia, for instance, he may continue serving as such, as an elder. So that's different, right? If you were in prison because of, like in Russia, because you're trying to maintain your Jehovah's Witness integrity. Well, likewise, a publisher imprisoned for maintaining his Jehovah's Witness integrity may be appointed to serve as an auxiliary pioneer, regular pioneer, or be recommended to serve as a ministerial servant or an elder if he otherwise qualifies. So always maintain your Jehovah's Witness integrity. Now, conducting judicial hearings with inmates, that would be interesting. Number 22. When a judicial committee endeavors to meet with an incarcerated accused wrongdoer, the secular authorities may not allow all 3 members to meet with him at the same time. What if it's a woman in a woman prison? Okay. How would they do that? They sure don't talk about that, I bet.
They send sisters.
Well, sisters aren't elders, they can't do it.
I don't know.
It's a male only religion. Like, what do they call that?
That's a patriarch.
Patriarch religion?
And
Now, if so, a judicial committee should not handle the case over the telephone by means of a conference call or video conference. The elders should endeavor to arrange for two members of the committee to meet with him in person in a confidential setting. Others should not be present when the accused person is interviewed. Afterward, the two brothers should discuss the case with the third member of the committee, and the judicial committee may then render a decision. Two members of the judicial committee should inform him of the decision. If he is disfellowshipped, the elders should inform him of his option to appeal, and so forth. If the authorities allow only one elder at a time to speak with him, the judicial committee should decide in advance what questions to ask, and then two on the judicial committee should talk with him separately and ask the same questions. Thereafter, the judicial committee should convene to make a decision. In unusual cases, contact the service department. Wow, I think of all the work these poor elders do without pay. These guys have families, they got jobs, these are just normal people, these elders, but yet the governing body expects all these elders to do all this work. This is a pile of work just to get in. Have you ever went into a prison and like I had to work in prisons. We worked in prisons in Erie, Pennsylvania. We worked in prisons in Ohio. We were putting security systems in these prisons, and you had to go through all of these checkpoints and scans, and it takes a long time. And then you have all these you have to go through the training videos in the prison, and you have to take all their training. So it's quite an ordeal. But the time that these elders put in without pay just boggles my mind. Now, shepherding, number 23, regularly communication with incarcerated publishers will help them to feel connected to the congregation. It is preferred that incarcerated publishers receive in-person visits and shepherding. And however, if in-person visits are not possible, it may be possible to correspond either by letter or by electronic means. Twice a year, the body of elders in the contact congregation should discuss the spiritual needs of each incarcerated publisher to ensure that he is well cared for and is receiving needed literature. So, as long as he's getting spiritual food, right? That's what it's all about. Okay, that's it. That brings us to an end of prisons and weddings. And next week, we'll be covering legal matters. So, yes, it doesn't end with prisons and weddings. The elder bodies are also your lawyers. So, stay tuned for next week, and we will learn more about that. Okay, so thanks everyone for sticking with us. Any questions? Not really. Just some pretty quiet. Well, thanks for sticking on with us, visiting everyone, visiting your friends while I ramble on about this boring elders book. But it is a secret elders book, but not anymore. These videos are all logged on our YouTube channel under a separate a playlist all of its own called 2024 Elders Book. And it's all done. You can check the whole Elders Book out, and we talk about it on this channel. So whatever is hidden will be revealed. That's what the Bible says. So these elders, these hidden books, hidden things, they always get revealed. Okay, well, that brings an end to our program tonight. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. And I guess have a great evening and keep living your life with love. We'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.